Greetings! We're just here in camp on the Deschutes River to do a little speed test, a little time test. I went ahead and bought this LifeStraw Peak Series 3-liter gravity filter for camp, and I've been trying it out for a few weeks because I had an issue with my little gear hack that I've shown you. I made this little filter kit, my own gravity filter, back when the gravity filters from the store were so expensive. I use a little Sawyer Mini, hooked up to a little plastic hose to the Platypus. Platypus was about 40 bucks, this was about $25, and so all told 65 bucks. And it did come with its handy dandy purging syringe for back flushing it and keeping it nice and flowing. Now, what I'm curious about is the speed. How much faster? Because the LifeStraw has a 2-micron filter, pour, and this has a 1. So this should be twice as fast, but I don't think it necessarily is. The reason that I replaced this, for starters, was, if you might notice here, this is all covered in tape, is because this started cracking and failing, and it's actually squirting water out the back of it, so it doesn't work anymore. So I had to use this just to get this purged for this test, and boy, there's a lot of dirty water that came out of it. So that opening does actually fit onto the Sawyer, so you can actually use this on both. The drawback is you have to screw this onto the filter, which means you have to unscrew the filter from the bag. You have to pull the hose, sorry, I'm focusing. You have to pull the hose off of the filter, screw it on, do the purge, unscrew it, fill the syringe, screw it back on, do the purge, unscrew it, fill the syringe, and it's just a real pain. But and so I don't like that. It's a lot easier to just push the syringe against the end here. Another quick drawback before we even get going, you might notice there's a cap. What do they give you here? No cap. I find earwigs every morning in there, and it's disgusting. Ew, I don't want earwig water, and that's how you stop the flow. However, this doesn't open all the way, and so it pinches the hose ever so slightly while it's flowing. So this might be a fairly even test, I'm not sure. But I've got 3 liters of the same water from the river right there. Same here. Both have been freshly purged. I just purged this one. I just purged this one. So this is as fair a test as I can get it. They're not the exact same height. I'm not sure if the height actually matters necessarily, but I'm guessing the foot isn't going to matter too much. 1 foot, 2 foot. That's just where they happen to hang. That's how long the paracord is. That's how long the strap is. So they're pretty neat though. I mean, this one has the little attachment here just like this would, so it can go into your backpack, which means you could technically put this in your backpack, I think, and as long as it doesn't interfere with the operation of the hose down near the bottom of your pack, you could drink your filtered water through as you're hiking. That's kind of nice, but same capacity, same price, 65. So what it comes down to is which one is easier to use and which one is faster, because gone are the days, if you're not old enough to remember, of sitting here and manually pumping water through a filter and getting a tiny little itty little splash of water, a little splash of water, and it would take forever to get a bottle made. Oh my gosh, this is night and day. I will always go with gravity from now on. But I've been through the experience of suffering with the pumping, and so I insist on gravity. So to make it fair, we're going to do 1 liter. We got our used body armor water. No, we're not selling body armor. We're just going to do this. So let's start with my version, and we'll do just a straight up test. Oh, got tangled. Okay, we're going to do 1 liter, and it's so old that the little keeper for the cap broke, but okay, here we go. And we'll just watch the video timer here. If I can get the cap off. Ugh. I put it on there pretty tight. And, oh, I dropped it in. Ha! Whoops. Well, we're going to include the cap. Well, I guess there's one drawback to the cap not sticking very well, but there was, what, 350 was it about? Ah, shoot, I wasn't looking at the timer just then. I was watching the cap. But we'll go with 350 as the time, let's say. Almost there. $320. $330. We'll call it 3:30. 3 minutes 30. Okay. And now we have a running filter, and I'm going to have to dump this water out, and I'm going to have to get the cap out of there, and then we'll start over with round 2. So we'll pause for that. Okay, we got the cap out. I drank as much as I could and tried to save the rest. So now it's the LifeStraw's turn. See if the updated version is any faster. We got 3 minutes and 30 seconds to beat. Okay, no bugs in there. That's terrible that you have to check it for bugs every single time. And now we'll get it going. And as you can see, it's still pinching the hose. So 759, 758. And now we wait. You can see the bubbles coming through because we just started using it. And I don't know if you can see, there's air trapped inside right here. I don't know if that affects the flow or not, but we'll see. So okay, we're approaching 3 minutes. It still isn't quite there. Goodness, that's interesting. So a 2-micron filter really isn't any faster. I mean, maybe 10 or 15 seconds faster per fill. There's 3 minutes. And "10 seconds quicker." That's the difference between these two. My goodness. 10 seconds for 1 liter. So the LifeStraw is going to save you 10 seconds per liter, and at 3.75 liters per gallon, there's what, 37 seconds it's going to save you per gallon. Is that going to make a difference in camp? Are you counting 37 seconds when you're out in camp? Or are you turning off your phone and trying to pretend like there's no such thing as time anymore? So in the end, I'm going to say for trail use, the original LifeStraw works great, because I've never had much success squeeze bagging the Sawyer on the trail. But for in camp, just because of the ease of backflushing the Sawyer, I think for camp I'm going to stick with my original here. But it's nice to know that I've got a decent and functional backup that does filter, does work, and will work in a pinch. One little thing that I did notice though, when you pull this filter off, you can see all the goop and stuff and all the crud, because all of it settles down in the bottom of the filter. There's no sort of little sump for the particulate to land, whereas with the Platypus there is this little U at the bottom where you'll see a bunch of gunk down in here that didn't go through the filter. It will with the LifeStraw. So there's definitely pluses for my system here. It's modular. It can be easily replaced in terms of each piece. You don't have to order a specific piece or order a replacement filter. You just go in the store and buy a brand new Sawyer, and then you've got another Sawyer kit. So all in all, I think I'm happy with like I said, I'm happy with the Sawyer in camp, but the LifeStraw for the trail. So there you go. The Sawyer is 10 seconds slower, and it's easier to use, and the LifeStraw is harder to use and a little bit faster. And so there you go. And I definitely want to thank you so much for joining me in camp here along the Deschutes River as I take a quick look at which is better, the Peak Series from LifeStraw Gravity or the Always Ants Gear Hack.